Why do we suffer at the hands of these politicians? Don't you know politicians work for you?
Hey!
You're the boss. You hire them and you fire them. Look how they campaign. You know what they do? They audition.
Yeah!
When you put them on the job, if they're not doing the job, then you fire them. Because you're in control. From the city to the state to Congress to the president. You run this.
Well, hello. We are back again. This is Jerry Williams at Talk Labor. So good to have you back with us at Talk Labor. This is the show where you come to talk. And if you can't talk at home, you can't talk at work, if you're afraid to talk at church, come down here and we'll talk for you. Okay, let us know what you're thinking. You can get us at talklabor@gmail.com, and we'll try to answer some of your questions. Okay, but listen, we're gonna start out today. We got a lot of things to talk about too. I want to talk about the coalition people. I try to do that every week, and we want to bring people up to date. But we're going to have a meeting with coalition members and people that want to be coalition members on August 23rd at Roosevelt and California. Really, really nice place. I'll give you more information about that as we go. But we want to be there so you can be brought up to date. You will be surprised at what's going on with your pensions. You want to make sure you're there. I know we filed a lawsuit a long time ago, and we won the lawsuit. Now, we tried to talk to people, tell people, hey, you need to get involved. And you had a lot of people, I don't want nothing to do with that. And we won the lawsuit, almost $2 million that we split among the people that did get involved. And people that did not get involved came later with, oh, where's my money? Hey, get out of here. We try to get you to be involved. So stay involved with this one. It looks good. The attorneys are doing a fantastic job, but be at the meeting so that you can be brought up to date as to what is going on and what you need to do. Okay? All right, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but right now, what I want to talk about is that Me Too movement. I want to start with that. I know a lot of you all, and you get upset with me for what I'm about to say, but I bet you a lot of people feel the same way I do. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. You know, anytime you can go back 20 years and say, he tried to kiss me, so I think he should be fired and his job should be taken away. I saw this on television. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, hold it. And then they say, and how you going to not believe the women? Shit, just like I don't believe the men. You know, that's 20 years ago. You're talking about somebody tried to kiss you 20 years ago, so they should be fired now. My God, what are we going to do next? You winked at me 20 years ago, so you should be fired. You shouldn't have no job. I don't know. You know, sometimes I just get, it bothers me. It bothers me when I see that. Because there are women that are abused and, you know, and they're not going to get that justice if you continue to do it the way you're doing it now. You know, you got people that's standing up for some of these people that they're being accused, but, you know, we got to stop that. Every time I look at Bill Cosby, I think about this kind of stuff. Here's some stuff that happened 30, 40 years ago, and all of a sudden you want to put him in jail because of somebody's accusations. And they say, and the thing is, well, there are 10 women that said it. And now if anybody molest a woman or try to rape a woman or try to keep a woman from getting a job because she won't, have sex with them or do anything like that, I think they should be fired. I think they should, if you do anything other more than that, I think they should be put in jail. But to go back 30, 40 years and say you winked at me or you tried to kiss me, man, I'm sick of that. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. So anyway, that's my beef. I know I'll probably get some emails on that, but it's okay. What I want to talk about though is, and you can see some of these portraits here. How many of y'all knew that Huey P. Newton had a doctorate, had his degree in sociology? The man was smart, very smart young man, intelligent, and was made to seem as if though he was one of the biggest thugs or criminals in the United States. And most of you know who I'm talking about when I say Huey P. Newton. He was one of the leaders of the Black Panther. The Black Panther Party started out making sure kids get breakfasts and stuff like that, and standing up for their rights. They were upset about what the police were doing to our young men and young women. Police, now it slowed down when they stood up, but then when they, made him look like, and all the other guys looked like they were some kind of criminals, and then they took away a lot of the rights, they're back at it again. These guys police are murdering people left and right, and I get tired of us saying, oh my God, what are we gonna do? We gotta do something about it. We gotta come together and do something about it. In our community, we can do something about that. Just like we can do something about these kids shooting each other. We can do something about that. But we gotta sit down and talk about it. And the place to start is right here at Talk Labor, because we're gonna say what we believe. We're not afraid to do that. Do we believe all policemen are dirty, low-down, no-good scum? No. Do we believe that there are some that are dirty, low-down scum? Yes. And we've seen it with our own eyes. They need to weed these people out. They feel that they can just shoot you. I was looking at television the other day, today, as a matter of fact, where a guy was holding a woman hostage with a knife. Police came up and shot him, the hostage, and everybody else that was in sight. I'm like, what was it all about if you're going to shoot the hostage? Anyway. And these were white people. Now, they have zero regards for black. But these were white people. Okay, so we're not gonna dwell on that too much, but Huey Newton, look it up. And I'm just going to give you a couple of names so you can go out and just check this out yourself, because we got a lot of things we want to talk about. Huey Newton, former Black Panther, look it up. Very intelligent young man. There is also rumored that Butch Cassidy was actually black. Look that up. Check it out yourself. Look it up. I did look up some things, and the indications are that Butch Cassidy may have been black. And then I want you to look at this other clip here, the Three Kings. I call them the Three Kings. That's Martin Luther King. That's President Barack Obama. And then Malcolm X. They all had different philosophies, but very intelligent men. So you look that up, okay? Now, what I want to talk about now, we're going to get into some juicy stuff, but what I want to talk about now is the hypocrisy of the Republican Party. What I mean by that? What I mean by that is that they claim that they are so, concerned about abortions, and women shouldn't have abortions because God don't want it to happen, and we're God-fearing people, which is a lie. These people right now are saying, oh, it's okay if Trump do what he do with these women and do the crooked stuff and all this stealing, it's okay, as long as he gives us what we want. So, but anyway, on abortions, they're saying that it should not be the woman's choice. And I think that if it's that woman's body, then she make that choice. If it's against the Bible, then she have to answer to God. Not you. You're not God. But when they say that they don't believe in abortions, I find that hard to believe, because when you murder a kid like, say, Tamir Rice in Cleveland, little 12-year-old boy, you aborted his life Mr. Policeman. You aborted that kid's life. He might not have been in the womb, but you aborted his life. And you do it all the time with these other young men. You abort the life, but you say you don't believe in abortions. When you kill somebody, you abort the life. That means end, stop, and that's what you're doing. Now, you go out and claim that your First Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, you should have a right to bear arms and shoot people and kill people. Abortion, same thing. Abortion. So don't try to, come to me with that double talk. And you all should not be caught up in that kind of garbage yourselves where you believe that. And I know most of the people that look at this show don't believe it anyway, but people that don't look at my show that often, and if you do believe in that, they'll tell you anything. This guy, Trump, let everything out of the bag when he said, I love my poorly educated, because he knows he can tell you any damn thing, anything, and you're going to believe it. But listen, I tell you what, I want to take a break, and we're going to come right back. And I got a few things more to tell you about the Republican Party, and I'm going to bring you up to date on some things that I think that you're very much concerned with. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and just to wrap up a little bit about what I was talking about before we went to break. Now, they want to force women to give birth. Then once the child is born, they shoot and kill the kids. So they're doing their own abortions. So you see what I'm saying? It might sound far-fetched, but think about it. Stopping life is stopping life. If they say that there's life inside the woman's womb, and they want to stop it, then why are they stopping it after they get out? They're not going to feed and make sure these kids get education, make sure that they live, make sure they don't care about that. They use that abortion thing because that's the way to get these evangelicals to vote for them. These people that don't know any better to vote for them. That's not all evangelicals, but the majority of them. Okay? Now, what you see the Republican Party doing is not anything different than they did years ago. So don't panic and say, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. No, it's not. This is what they did before. Back in the day, one of my favorite presidents was Harry Truman. Harry Truman used to lay it out on the line. I mean, you got to know your history. Go into your history, pull up Harry Truman and listen to what he said about some of the Republicans that you deal with today. One of the things he said about Republicans, what, I don't want to try to tell you. Tom Hartman, who has a great radio show, I've been listening to him for years. Tom Hartman, he talks about it. He talks about what Harry Truman said about the Republicans. I want you to take a look at this clip and see if that is not the honest to God truth. Listen to what Hartman is saying about what the statement that Harry Truman made. Just check this out.
C.K. John posted this quote. I've actually quoted. In fact, I used to have the audio of this. I have no idea where it is now, but or at least the audio of part of this, a speech by Harry Truman in 1948. And so I'll just read it to you. He said, well, I've been studying the Republican Party for over 12 years at close hand in the capital of the United States. And by this time, I have discovered where the Republicans stand on most of the major issues. Since they won't tell you themselves, I am going to tell you. They approve of the American farmer, but they are willing to help him go broke. They stand foursquare for the American home, but not for housing. They are strong for labor, but they are stronger for restricting labor's rights. They favor a minimum wage. The smaller the minimum, the better. They endorse educational opportunity for all, but they won't spend money for teachers or for schools. They think modern medical care and hospitals are fine for people who can afford them. They consider electrical power a great blessing, but only when the private power companies get their rake off. They condemn cruelly high prices, but fight to the death every effort to bring prices down. They think the American standard of living is a fine thing so long as it doesn't spread to all of the people. And they admire the government of the United States so much that they would like to buy it. Perfect. Harry Truman, President of the United States, 1948.
You see what he was saying about Republicans? Now tell me that's not the truth. You know, write me and tell me that's not the truth. I mean, that's what time of the day it is with these guys, you know. And it's like it's not a laughing matter, but it's, you know, you don't want to get caught up and get all hurt and, you know, thinking that, oh my God, the world is coming to an end and the Republicans are gonna, you know, this guy in the White House now, put your stamp on it. He's going to try his best to start a war with some country, maybe a little country that they can jump on and beat up. But this guy's so stupid. He's tried to start a war with a country that would kill up a whole bunch of our young men and women. But he's going to do that because his popularity is going up under the table. This Trump guy. But I'll tell you what I want you to do. I want you to take a look at this flyer. We're having on a lighter note, Fall Festival in Richton Park. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. You're going to see some of the greatest stars and some of the greatest things going on in Richton Park. I'm so proud of these guys that's stepping up in this village. They're going to do some of the things that should have been done years ago. You know, and it's called the Richton Park Fall Festival. You know, get out there, enjoy yourself, because it's going to be really, really nice. And also, don't forget, Infinite Scholars is going to have the fair, the Infinite Scholars Fair on September 20th at the Chicago State University. That's going to be wonderful for kids that are striving to better their lives and want to go further in their education and do some things. Come on out there, be there. Don't be the ones that straggling behind and don't get, you know, what is offered for you. I notice a lot of times people they wait till too late and they'll come back and say, well, Mr. Williams, can you help us get the scholarships? Because no, you got to come out and step up yourself. One of the things I found out too about us is that, especially in our neighborhood, African American neighborhood, our kids, I'm gonna give you a story too. I wanted to help some of the kids that maybe, you know, they don't have a 3.0 or 4.0, you know, because some kids just don't test well, and they're good prospects to be good citizens if they can get that education. Maybe they had 2.5. They should have the education. So I worked with a group of people to help try to work it out so these kids could get a scholarship. What we did was we signed them up to be, you know, to go on tour to college, and the college, we worked it out where they were going to work with them to get them the scholarships, and they were all gung ho. Now, one of my mentors told me, said, Jerry, look, if they got a 2.1 or 2.2, That's because they don't want to do anything, and they're not going to do anything. But I will work with you to try to help you do this. So I did. Pushed it out there, and he was right. I had to go back and eat crow. He was right. They didn't. And what happens is the parents don't push them. You know, they all signed up, yes, we want to get it. And when it came down to go and do it, only a few showed up. And those few, you know, they were successful, but the others, they're not going to do anything. So you got to start working with these kids before they get to be juniors and seniors. When I say working with them, getting them introduced into college and letting them know that education is the key. Education is the thing that'll save your child. If you really, really care about the child. If you don't care about them, hey, do what you got to do. Look, we're going to take another break, and we're going to come right back. And we're going to discuss some of the things that I talked about as far as your coalition and a few others. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and I wonder if you know anything about Dr. J. Marion Sims. He's supposed to be the great gynecologist, come up with all kinds of cures for, you know, the female, and, you know, and he had a big statue up in New York because he's a great doctor, they said, you know, great person. He found cures for A, B, C, and D. But when you go deeper into the history, you'll find out that this man experimented on young black female slaves. He would operate on them without even giving them anesthesia. He would go in and gut them, and he was a monster. Go in and read about that. And he had a big statue up in New York, and some of the people were upset about it, but people demanded that they take that statue down after they read the history of this guy. And one guy stood up and said, well, he had to go, he found cures for things, so he had to use somebody, and that was back then, so he used the slaves. Like, slave, you use black women. These were human beings that this guy. But I want you to go and look at it. I want you to take a look at this clip, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is Dr. J. Marion Sims. Dr. J. Marion Sims. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what people were doing to slaves. Take a look at the clip. Take a look at this clip.
Meet the father of modern gynecology, Dr. J. Marion Sims. He's been dubbed the savior of women and the architect of the vagina for developing revolutionary gynecological procedures and tools like the dreaded speculum. Statues of the 19th century surgeon currently stand in 3 American cities, including this one right here in New York City. But it turns out your routine pap smear has a dark history. Dr. Sims conducted much of his research on slaves, like Anarcha, a teenager who was one of many voiceless, faceless black women who suffered through his experiments without anesthesia or informed consent. For 4 years, Sims operated on young slaves repeatedly to find a cure for a condition caused by complicated childbirth that left many women incontinent or unable to control their urination. Anarcha endured 30 practice procedures before Sims finally got it right. According to historian and medical ethicist Harriet Washington, Sims knew the operation was extremely painful, but wrote that using anesthesia was not worth the trouble or risk. In fact, the pain was so excruciating that the woman had to be restrained by 2 male surgeons just to make it through. And that's why many people are now calling for his statues to come down. But Dr. Sims isn't the only physician to use black people as unwitting test subjects. It's only one chapter in a long history of racist medical abuse. In the infamous Tuskegee experiment, federal researchers observed 399 black men with syphilis from 1932 to 1972. A cure was discovered 13 years in, but doctors withheld treatment for decades just so they could continue their work. And that's not even the most egregious example. For decades leading up to the 1970s, white doctors in training performed secret surgical sterilizations, including unnecessary uterus removals on black and Puerto Rican women. In the early 90s, the New York State Psychiatric Institute conducted a study into the genetic roots of violence. The researchers recruited mostly low-income black boys and injected them with a drug known to be poisonous. The boys' mothers were given a whopping $125 for having their sons participate. And to this day, we still don't know the long-term effects this experiment has had on those kids. These stories are horrifying, but racism in the medical field isn't a thing of the past. A 2016 study found that a quarter of medical residents who were surveyed thought black skin is actually thicker than white skin. And many of those same residents also thought black patients felt less pain than their white counterparts and recommended less accurate pain treatment. So it's not surprising that studies have found that black patients tend to trust doctors less. And all of this has real consequences on people's health. In East Harlem, where Dr. Sims' statue stands, 80% of the residents are black or Hispanic. And the average life expectancy here is almost 10 years lower than that of majority white neighborhoods in Manhattan. So maybe it's time we stop celebrating this racist history and start recognizing the centuries of abuse people of color have endured in the name of science.
Did you see what I was talking about? Did you understand what I was talking about? Well, I hope you did. But look, before we leave, I want to remind you again about the Richmond Park Fall Festival. It's going to be great. We're going to have a whole multitude of talent from all ethnic groups. You got, black, white, Hispanic. You just got all blues, R&B, hip hop, pop, gospel. Hey, you are going to love it. It's going to be in Richmond Park on September the 8th at Governor's Highway and Sauk Trail, right at the metro station here. So don't forget the Richmond Park Fall Festival. And also don't forget the Infinite Scholar Program. We have the Infinite Scholar Fair at the Chicago State University. Okay? So don't forget about that. Now, Coalition members, don't forget August 23rd. We're going to have a meeting. It's going to be a meeting that you are going to want to be at, okay? You are going to want to be at. Do not be left behind. I can't say that enough. Don't be left behind. We ask you to come down 4 times a year, or at least twice a year, so that you will be involved. You want to make sure not only do you get your money that you got coming, but that you make sure that nobody can take it from you going forward. These are the things that we will be discussing at the meeting, and we're going to have some very interesting guests, and you can ask questions, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Be there. Don't be the only one not there. Be there, okay? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave you with something I think is very, very interesting. I don't know if you ever heard a Indian comedian, a comedian that's Native American. I think he would be upset if I call him an Indian, but he's Native American. But I'll tell you what I want you to do. Check him out. This was back when Richard Pryor was, hosting his shows and stuff like that. Check this out, okay? And again, what I want you to do, if it's something that bothers you, talk about it. If it's something that's great for you, talk about it. If you got some information that we need, talk about it, okay? Because that's the only way you're going to solve your problem. We're going to see you again here next week at Talk Labor with Jerry Williams. See you then.
Just having a mirage here on the desert, thought I saw TV cameras in front of me. I'd like to introduce now a new talent on the show, a man that I met that gave me my name, Lahunje, means black spirit. And he's an Indian brother, Iroquois Nation, Mr. Charlie Hill. Please welcome me.
Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya? I usually have problems doing my act, you know, because I know a lot of you white people never seen an Indian do stand-up comedy before, you know. Like for so long, you probably thought that Indians never had a sense of humor, you know. We never thought you were too funny either. See some people back there putting their chairs in a circle. My name is Charlie Hill, Sagoli. I'm Oneida. I'm from Wisconsin. It's part of the Iroquois Nation. My people are from Wisconsin. We used to be from New York. We had a little real estate problem. I came out here, Los Angeles, a few years ago. I don't drink. No, don't drink. Firewater to Indians, that's just like kryptonite. Here, drink this, sign this, move here. You know what I mean? Indians. You know, people come up to me now, too, and they say, can you speak Indian? And they're like over 300 different tribes. You know, can you speak Indian? That's like saying, hey, can you speak Caucasian? But that's the name they gave us, Indians. Indians was the name Christopher Columbus gave us, which is incorrect. He named us Indians because he thought he was in India, you know. I'm sure glad he wasn't looking for Turkey. Changed a lot of things. Columbus discovered America. They taught me that when I was a kid. Columbus discovered Indians, you know. That was my education. You see, like black people, Indians were driven to all-white schools, you see. Except the black people got the buses, the Indians were just driven. I went to Custer Memorial Junior High, you know. Tell me about, you know, a lot of things I couldn't relate to, you know. Like the Pilgrims, they weren't my forefathers, you know. Yes. Pilgrims came to this land 400 years ago as illegal aliens. You know, we used to call them whitebacks. You know, they started unloading the boats, building houses, you know, on the East Coast. First thing we asked, you guys gonna stay the night? Doesn't that just burn you up when people come over and they never leave? Yeah, we'll leave after Thanksgiving, you know. You know, people celebrate that every year, Thanksgiving. You have a lot of holidays. This is Indians' country. There's no Indian holidays. There's Thanksgiving, Columbus Day, and everything. Oh, no, there's one holiday we do celebrate with white people. It's Halloween. Every year we dress up like white people, you see. And we go door to door and we get anything we want, you know. Trick or treaty. Good crowd there. It's nice doing a TV shot. Maybe a couple more I'll be able to get in the movie someday. And maybe change some of the movie cliches, you know. You see every day in the movies, or the settlers come in, gets the Indian loaded, and wants his resources, you know. Say, Injun, which way does this road go? Road stay. You go. You don't understand. Someday we want to live together and love one another like brothers and sisters. We cannot love the white eyes. It is painful to kiss forked tongue. I just have a dream that someday I will get into the movies, right? And then I will win an Academy Award. Then I'll refuse it because of the mistreatment of Marlon Brando. Thank you.
Baby, I'm a politician. I don't follow leaders who ain't got no vision. Fly like a bird, sting like a hornet. You want me to follow? Tell me where we going. Don't you know you work for me? Don't you know you work for me? Yeah.